about your mom.
Oh, Mom. Well, she was amazing. So she was a teacher. She was a retired teacher, 42 years in her career. She coached volleyball. She taught religious education. She just was a pillar of the community. Everybody knew her. I hated grocery shopping with her because it took an hour and a half because she talked to everyone. But she just loved everybody. I can't tell you how many people that are not blood related that we'd refer to as aunt and uncle or cousin because they became like family because she just loved deep. She loved her grandkids. She just loved life. She was fun. She was spirited. She was a little sassy at times.
All mothers are.
Yes.
She kind of liked getting the sassy kids sometime in school because she could make a connection with them, you know? So she was really all about just education and family and faith and love.
And Coleman was like home base?
Yeah, yep. She grew up she was born in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and then moved to Beaver and then went to Coleman High School and graduated. Went to UW-Stevens Point is where she got her education for teaching. She had her master's plus like 30. So she went all over. She was really believed in education and continuing education.
Yeah.
But that's where home base was Coleman.
Okay. And then your sister-in-law.
Yeah, Alicia. She grew up in the area. She she was the nicest person. I have never seen
really
her
was.
angry or, she was funny. She was funny to just, when she was frustrated, her level of frustration was so sweet. You just wanted to give her a hug. She wanted her 2 children, and she just loved them so much. She revolved her whole world around them. She was a paraprofessional and librarian at the school that they attend. And it was interesting because she wasn't as much of an extrovert as Mom, but it was the outpouring of people that would call and say how much their kids miss her because, sometimes they just liked her smile or, she was just a source of comfort for so many. And the way the school is set up, the library is literally the heart of the school. You can't go upstairs or downstairs. And she just had this big, gorgeous smile. And I know for our daughter, she'd give her I don't know how many hugs a day, and so...
Anytime she's having a bad day, she'd stop in at the library and see her aunt, and it just made everything better for her.
It just made it better. And it was hard to go back and, to not see her there every day. We don't, for my niece and nephew to just grow up in a world now without their mom, it's tough. And I know the principal, she's amazing too. For the middle and elementary school, she started Operation Hug for our daughter, and so the other librarian that Alicia worked with helps give her hugs, and they just talk about her and how much they miss her. And
because this was a loss not only for you guys, but really the community.
The community,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they did so much, and so much that you might not have even known. Mom was so involved in band and just,
Band, 4-H. There's so many
different things that she just...
Any little community activity she was going to be involved in. She was going to be playing in the band at the parade.
Yeah, making sure it was still going, getting
keeping
kids
that
involved
going
and excited about it, and it's just
it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, I don't want to upset you. Take me back though to the day of the crash and kind of what happened and when you guys sort of found out what sort of had transpired.
So my poor brother, he was the in case of emergency contact, in Mom's phone, and so he got the news first, and he drove over. So my sister lives in Green Bay, and then my brother and father and I, we live kind of in like this little triangle. We're all a mile or less apart. So he said, I'm trying to get a hold of you. He said there was a crash, and Mom and Alicia are gone. And I said, I'm on my way. So I was trying to get our youngest down for a nap, and I went over there, and it was just the world stood still. I remember hugging my nephew and just holding him close to my chest, and it just seemed like time froze. And it was this weird surreality of like, this is happening, but it just, how? It was such a beautiful day. It was the first weekend of summer. We had plans. We were going to get together and have dinner that afternoon as a family. They were running to our friend's garden center just to get stuff organized for, you know, their flower pots and so on. And it just didn't make sense because all of the conditions and the circumstances, it just,
It was a bright, clear day. It was just a really like wonderful day. It started off great. You know, we all were together that morning.
Yeah, we were all together that morning at
Yep.
our house, and it just was like, what? How? You know, it just didn't make sense.
Because the intersection isn't far from your home, like it's
No,
somewhere
it's
that
a few
you guys
miles. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
I guess
have to
drive-
go through all the time.
regularly.
Every time we
Yeah.
go from Coleman to Marinette, we have to cross through there where Peshtigo. It's a constant reminder we get.
Yeah, I mean, we were out there. I mean, it's open. Like the you know, it's not.
It's very
I-
clear. In June when there's no
There was
crops,
no corn
nothing,
or
it is
anything up, so that's why it
extremely
was
clear
just
intersection.
hard to grasp how, you know.
And then as you know, the investigation, we learned kind of about the distracted driving and
Yep.
everything.
Well, and that's what we believed it to be, and it sounded, you know, the evidence was so clear that it was distracted driving, but that's what we want to raise awareness for. Is this?
Yeah.
I mean, we see it when we're on the highway. We see it all the time, and there was never going to be. They were gone. June 2nd of last year. There's no fixing that for us. But if we can raise awareness and speak out and try to help other people, you know, put the phone down so it's not you or your loved one or your kids or anything. It was just so preventable and unnecessary, and that's...
And I think that we kind of thought, you know, the process of going through the court and the trial and potentially the end verdict would actually help raise awareness, and really it did not, in our opinion. And that's why we decided we need to do something. We need to speak out. Because it happened right here in Northeast Wisconsin to people, you know, literally known and loved by hundreds, if not more, or thousands of people. You know, and just on such a nice random day, and it seemed like it was, you know, to our own opinion, it was very much, you know, a preventable thing. Like that was very distracted driving in a day like that with the visibility. It seemed like it was.
And our concern is that it sets the wrong precedent. You know, we didn't feel that taking someone else from their family, like our family was ripped from us, we didn't feel that taking someone from their family was going to benefit us in any way.
Yeah.
But when the state brings a case, it's supposed to help the greater good. And we didn't feel, you know, we were so, I don't know, just disappointed, I guess, in the verdict. We felt like this isn't going to do anything for the greater good. How is this going to stop people from being, you know, inattentive or distracted? It's not. It just...
Even if it's just, you know, something enough to make you pause for a second.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, you know, we listen to some of the court, you know, even a millisecond of braking, and as somebody shot through an intersection could have changed everything. So just that, you know, 1 second of a thought can sometimes be literally the difference between life and death, and we found that out in the worst way.
I mean, your actions have consequences. I mean,
Right.
We teach that
That's
to
what we
I
teach
have
our
a
kiddos.
6-year-old, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, you might think it's something like an innocent, I'm just going to look at my phone. And he admitted to looking at his phone. I know we don't want to focus on him, but,
Right.
I mean, he admitted to being a distracted driver. And so I guess, you know, you were working on some legislation. Walk me through kind of, you know, where that all came from, because obviously that started before.
Yeah, that started way before any
this
of
trial
it.
and the
So
verdict.
as soon as we started learning about some of these laws and how being a victim, and, you know, insurance stacking was one of them, where it used to, your auto policy follows you. And so you would get your insurance plus, you know, whoever caused the accident. Well, that's not the case anymore. So it's just interesting, and I've been researching it a little more. Maybe some insurances have anti-stacking clauses, I'm not so sure. But in a case where an individual is killed, if somebody were wanting to bring any type of, you know, an action, legal action, they only have 2 years, whereas in most other cases it's 3 years. And I think when somebody's so devastated, why do you give them less time? So again, these are all things that they're not going to benefit us or our family, but if we can raise awareness and try to make sense of things that were brought to our attention to make it better for the next, because unfortunately it's going to happen again.
Yep.
And so we want to try to help. That's what Mom and Alicia would have wanted.
Absolutely.
They would have wanted to, you know, just
these are things you wouldn't know these laws, because you don't have a reason to know them, until you go through something like this, and you wish, thinking back, I wish I would have known more, and we could have maybe worked earlier with somebody, but we may not have had even the inclination to do so because we weren't affected by it.
In the state of Wisconsin, there's a life lost is worth $350,000, and I was like, wait, what? How do you have a number? It should be determined in the court. Other states don't have any set amount, I guess, if you will, and to me it depends on the individual, and were they an income producing mother, that were they a healthcare advocate, were they taking care of their sick husband, and were they the driver and the grocery shopper and maintained the home, and what did they do for the community versus
it's not so cut and dry. Really.
It's not so cut and dry, so. And
so, I mean, I know you're working with Jeff, and I'm going to talk to him at 2:00. He called. I reached out to him yesterday.
Oh, great.
He's called. So, what are you really pushing for? I mean, if you had a top change or a top
just
law,
to raise awareness, the laws, and like I said, well, another thing is, we really didn't feel that taking someone away from their family is going to benefit us or their family, but maybe if you took away a spouse, you took away a healthcare advocate, almost like in a divorce or something, could there be some form of alimony payment or child support or something that goes on to help support that family, because the bills are all still there. It's, you take a mom away and now you have a father who still has to provide enough to pay for all the expenses, and comes home to a home that they built to retire in and enjoy their marriage and family, and it's all changed. It's all different, and it's never going to be what they dreamt.
No, and no dollar amount will ever change that. And I think, the biggest thing we want to do is we want to, obviously there's been lots of campaigns, don't text and drive.
Right.
And, and they kind of almost got to the point where it's just like white noise. And we would love to figure out a way to kind of re-bring this up and just reaction in a way that people start to listen again, because it doesn't take much to, hear your phone beep and just ignore it, while you're driving.
Or shut it off or silence it.
And if you can at least start thinking about what is that impact, and that impact goes so far beyond the people in the accident. And, we get a painful reminder of that every day.
Yeah. And just the way, they ask you, what impact did it have on your family? And we don't have those answers yet. Our 3-year-old last year, when she went to school, and the first time a kid came home, wasn't in school because he was sick, she looked at her teacher and she's like, well, where is he? Is he dead? Just tell me. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's her first reaction? That's tragic.
Yeah.
That's just... And so I guess, we don't have the answers, but actions do have consequences, and I feel that people need to maybe be more afraid of using their phone. They need to set better examples for their children, have them be their personal texter, have them be their navigation, have, try to plan it before, because this isn't something that, it's relatively new, this isn't something that cell phones and none of that when I was in high school, and I'm not that old despite what my kids think.
It's like those questions. How old are you? 112.
Yeah, right.
Some days I feel it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, are you hopeful that there will be change, I guess, at the state level? And
I am. I mean, we are. I feel like we got to try to have a call to action, to lawmakers, educators. We've already reached out to our school to say, hey, can we have a few minutes at a local assembly to just be that face that people recognize, they know what happened, and just say, if you can save one life, and who knows, you don't know if it's going to be the driver or who they hit or what they hit, but it's preventable, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and to me, it didn't resonate with me until it happened to our family. I think to explain to somehow we need to get better at getting the impact explained to people, and let them understand, like that little move to look at that phone when you're going 60 miles per hour, you got 10 seconds, you just traveled, 400, 500 feet, just like that. So much can change in that
And the
distance.
speed limits are so much faster, too.
We couldn't believe how fast people were going through that intersection that didn't have the stop sign. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
And they just...
ginormous dump trucks
The east-west
were like
is flies.
And they
yeah.
just put signs up to reduce it to 45, and I think either people just aren't used to it or what, but that was new since the accident as well.
Yeah.
So they reduced the speed in that area. And then I noticed that there's like the spinny things. Is that all new?
That's all
That's
new.
all
And
new.
the flashing lights.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's all new
Yep.
on that.
Yeah. But
So
if you're in a phone, you're still not going to see any of that, and that's what it just. I have so much fear for our children and the next generation. I had a gal I used to work with. She's like, when I see someone, I honk my horn and I point at them, and I'm like, oh, you're kind of calling them out on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never thought of that. Instead of just being flabbergasted, you're kind of like, pay attention.
Right. I see you. People see you. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, we see you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys ask for the increase at that intersection, or they just
No, yeah,
county did that on
everything
their
that
own?
happened
Is
has all
Yeah.
been the state and the
Oh,
DOT. That was nothing.
I mean, was it?
from us.
I mean,
Maybe community. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it came
that
that
all
way,
came
but
about.
yeah.
But I mean, were the stop signs not? I mean, it's wide open. I guess. Like I can't. I mean, I understand he was not looking, so missed the stop sign. But it seemed like were the stop signs hard to see?
I don't.
Before that.
No,
Like
it's
I
just
don't
it
know
was
how
it
you
was
don't
a
see-
regular stop sign like you always see at an intersection like
the
that.
stop ahead and the intersection.
Yeah, and there's a
signs.
stop ahead sign that is
When it's such
quarter
a
mile
beautiful
before.
farm on that corner, I'm actually always looking to see like, oh, what new did they do? And how you're just, I don't know, my eyes are up. And now I've noticed something. I wave at almost every driver that comes by, and the kids are like, well, why do you do that? I go, if they wave back, I know their eyes are up. It's kind of like, hey, how are you? But I wave, and then I know they see us. So yeah, it was. I don't know, to not see any of it, a car, an intersection, anything, I don't know.
Because it is so open, it was just like awful time, like a split-second decision, right?
Yep.
Well, and that was, when he said they're gone, I was like, you don't get to say goodbye. You don't, and that was the first time we always hugged. That was the first time Mom and Dad left our place, and I didn't get like a hug and an I love you, but I got it like 10 times a day. Usually I talk to Mom more than any. She talked to a lot of people. I don't know how she talked to that many people in a day, but
you were going to see them later. There
yeah,
were plans to see them later.
we
Oh yeah,
see
we
them
had plans for dinner and yeah.
Yeah, so it just is like to have people just vanish from your life. It's hard to come to the realization that that's it.
Yeah.
Because I know that the driver was found, not guilty. What would have been his penalty if he would have been found guilty?
I'm not sure.
And then I guess because you
don't
said
know.
you want people to stiffer penalties.
Yeah,
so
right.
I guess,
And that's what I'm hoping lawmakers, what is it? What's gonna do it for people? I believe the minimum, if there were any impairment in an accident that resulted the same way, the minimum would have been 5 years per life lost. That's the minimum penalty. In a case like this, I believe it's up to 6 years is the maximum penalty. So when you're impaired, you're impaired. But when you're not impaired, you're making a cognitive decision of sound mind. So isn't that
In a way, you're doing it either way. If you're
worse? I don't know.
I think it's,
so I don't
they're on equal
have those
terms in a way.
answers, but it just didn't seem. It doesn't make sense. So what's it gonna do to? What's it gonna take? I guess for people to pay attention, and to do the consequences have to be more severe? Does there have to be more prison time attached? Does it have to, or did people go, oh, I've done that, it wasn't intentional. Well, it wasn't, and that we know. It wasn't premeditated in any way, but picking up your phone is a deliberate act, and that's one that we choose to do or not.
Or does it have to get more extreme? If your car is connected to Apple Play, then you can no longer interface with it, with the phone. You know, if your phone is connected to your car's Apple Play, I mean to say, you know, is there, I don't know, you know, what what is going to be the thing that can change, you know, this, because it happens all the time. You hear about, especially when you get attuned to hearing these things, you look for it, and you can see it's constantly happening in communities like ours across the country.
Yeah. And we just don't want there to have to be so much more loss for then the call to action to come, because I research things, right? So I know that from 2024, there was 44 people that lost their lives due to distracted driving in the state of Wisconsin. That was a 91% increase over 2023, where 23 people. And like my husband said, these are families shattered. This isn't, you know, these aren't numbers. Like, and a 91%, I don't even know what the statistics are for 2025. But I don't think it's getting better.
Right. Actions have consequences, and they're not little consequences. I mean, lives are shattered. You know,
Right.
families are torn apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you think about 44 lives that were lost. I mean, that's the direct people, right, who lost their lives. But you know, the countless family members, you know, and the person who you know was even in the accident, and all the things they're going to go through for the rest of their lives that didn't lose their life. There's so much there that you know, that 44 lives equals into the thousands of people affected
Fast.
very quickly.
Because you don't know what their jobs were, their responsibilities, who was counting on them, you know. We have, you know, for an only daughter and only sister to be left, she was the pillar of that family. I mean, everything was on her shoulders. That was it. It was a small, intimate family. And then to try and, like, process your loss and move forward and pick up the pieces and nobody's going to be able to fill their shoes.
No.
But we all have a lot more responsibilities and duties, and I had to quit working to be able to keep up with everything that they did, plus what was on our plate, plus what they did for me, you know, what Mom did for us.
Yeah.
It just, I can't, work is vacation. I fill in when I can, and it's a break.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else you think is important that I didn't ask about that you wanted to share?
Really,
Do you feel like you got your point across? And
I think so, about raising awareness. That was the
Yeah, I mean,
big-
it's raising awareness is our main point, and any way we can do that, whether that awareness is driven by, you know, doing a newscast like this, or it's driven by there's harsher penalties, or laws get changed, you know, just any incremental awareness raised that can maybe, you know, spare one family or many
It's
or
pain,
multiple
'cause
families
it's-
this pain
Yeah.
is worth it.
And on both ends, there's got to
Yeah.
be pain. You know,
Yes.
we just want. It's preventable. If we can prevent it, let's prevent it. I mean, seriously, it's a choice.
Well, it's brave of you. I mean, no family wants to have to be the poster family for
And that
try
was
to like this, but I mean, it'll hopefully do some good.
That was a
Yeah.
weird feeling. I didn't know how I felt. I wasn't able to go to the trial. It was too hard for me. But I didn't know what I wanted for the verdict. And once I heard it, I had this burden feeling, almost like, whoa, this isn't going to do anything for the greater good. Now I feel burdened, and I know my sister and my brother and father support. We feel like, okay, somebody has to raise awareness. We have to do something, because
Yeah, and as strange as it seems, coming on to a newscast like this is almost a way of, you know, allowing us to address some of the, you know, this burden that we feel, and it's you know, it's awareness, and this is the first step to that.
and people need to learn. And Mom and Alicia were, you know, in the education world, and so if we can help raise awareness and teach, and if people need to learn that way, then as long as they learn, it's great.
Yeah, I think they'd be very proud. I know her mom especially, you know, to know that she's still teaching after she's gone, in a way, through us and through the family. I think it's something that would make her smile. Same thing for Alicia as well. I have no doubt about that, actually. So